We are joined by our first guest. He is one of the most esteemed coaches in MMA. Just wanted to check in with him like I always like to every so often, see how things are going. And he joins us now on Skype. There he is, Javier Mendez. Hi, Javier.
Hi, Luke. How are you doing, buddy?
It looks to me, I could be wrong, that you are in Las Vegas, Nevada. Is that right?
I think you're right. Yeah, I have a great host, George Roger from the Planet Hollywood. He hooks me up all the time, and I lose a lot of money, and he does a lot of good things for me.
Now, you spend your free time out there?
Usually when I come to the fights, the fighters have their one room or whatever they give them. I stay here at the Planet Hollywood under my friend George Roger because I get hooked up. I'm not sleeping with other guys when I can have a 2-bedroom suite to myself.
Are you there? I guess what I'm asking is, are you there on business?
Oh, this one's business. Yes, I'm sorry. The screwed up about that whole thing. Originally, when I saw the fight, I kept having to replay it. I never seen what the hell happened. And I was thinking, well, what the hell? It's just his knee gave out, right? And of course his knee gave out, right? But then it wasn't until I was home and he leaves me a text message. He goes, I was fine until he hammer fisted me in the back of the head. And I'm like, what? Talking about hammer fist. So I replayed the goddamn video, and the very first strike that was hit was an illegal shot right behind the back of the head when he shot in. And that's what he said that dazed him a teeny bit, and that's what started this whole sequence. But nobody ever saw it. It was an illegal shot. It was. If the ref would have caught it, it would have been a no contest. But he didn't catch it. Hell, I didn't catch it, and I watched it over and over again. And then I made up in my mind what I thought it was, and it wasn't. I was completely wrong.
So no,
it was funny. Not funny, but it wasn't funny. I'm sorry, that was a stupid word. But it was one of those weird freak accidents, man. Whether intentional or not, I don't know. All I know is that he got a hell of a shot. When you slow it down and you watch it, it was a clear shot, the legal back of the head. And nobody talks about that because it's overdone.
And also, I'll be honest, I watched the tape 1,000 times. I'm certainly not suggesting you're wrong, but like you, I think I missed it as well. If what you're saying is true, I can't recall that.
Yeah, rewatch it, and then watch the very, Ngannou shoots a 1-2 at him. He misses both shots, and then Cain shoots in. As soon as he shoots in, he gets hit with a hammer strike right in the back of the head, and then followed up by a sequence of punches. And then that one shot where he lifts with a straight up uppercut, it looks like it did hit him, a glance hit him, and then at the same time, right as it hit him, he looked like his head buckled, and then his knee went. But it was the shot before that we all missed. I missed it. If you don't pay attention, you're going to miss it.
I'll definitely go back and take a look. That's interesting. Now, has he been back in the gym since then?
No, he hasn't been back in the gym. Like I said, the first time I saw him was with that Daniels thing, and I knew about the thing from Mexico because he had made an agreement with the UFC. Because if you don't have an agreement with them, you're not going to be able to do it. But it was already agreed upon. So he's doing something for WWE in Mexico. I don't know exactly what, but it does involve with the Mexican League.
Now that's through WWE?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So you can imagine what the average fan's perspective might be. They see this injury, they don't hear from Cain, and the next thing they hear about him, he's doing some wrestling stuff, and they say, "Man, he kind of has one foot out the door." Is that an unfair overreach? Is that a panic response?
I would say 100%. Panic response. He hasn't said anything. All I hear from him is he can't wait to get back in.
Okay, very good. By the way, how overweight at this point is Daniel Cormier?
I don't know. He's happy. Let's just say he's very happy.
All right, fair enough. So is there, again, you're spitballing here. I just want a coach's perspective. Reasonable to assume Cain comes back this year? Reasonable?
If it does, late year.
Late year. Reasonable. So maybe more likely again, we're just spitballing here. Yes. Like a first quarter, second quarter 2020.
That means that would be more likely first quarter, second quarter 2020, I think, if he comes back, and you never know, right? I mean, he may say yes, and all of a sudden last minute he goes no. But right now, I haven't heard anything other than, he's still hungry. I do know that.
Here's the thing, Hop. As a coach and as somebody who I know cares about Cain, and I'm merely an observer, but I'm certainly an admirer of what he's done. Do you ever get bummed out about all the time he's missed? I mean, no one's probably more bummed out than Cain himself. But what about you?
I'm honestly heartbroken here, in my opinion. This is my opinion, okay? I think he could have been the greatest heavyweight of all time had none of these stupid things happened to him. I mean, there's some by his cause, some by my cause, some by just unforeseen things, you know. And I mean, almost anybody that sees what he's capable of doing and what he has been doing obviously knows that there's no one like him. But this is an unforgiving sport, you know, and he's had a lot of mishaps happen to him. And like I said, some my fault, some his fault, some other people's fault. But it's happened, you know, and we just got to move forward. But is it depressing? Yes, it is. It's heartbreaking for me when I see these things happen to him.
I don't know how much you pay attention to like other sports, but I live in Washington, D.C., Hav, and my favorite team is, they're terrible, but I like the Washington Redskins. They have a tight end who goes by the name of Jordan Reed, 6'4", 240, super athletic. This dude just cannot stay healthy. When he's on the field, he is the most incredible specimen there is. I wouldn't say he was as good as Gronk, but very, very good. And you just never see it because he's got a shoulder or a foot or a concussion or this and that. And it leads me to believe, do you think some people, no matter their best efforts, they're just more injury prone than others?
Well, you know, I'd like to think that, but in all honesty, I asked Cain, I said, hey, you know, were you getting injured in college? He goes, no, never. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I go, what the hell's going on here? You know, so I'd like to say yes, you know, that's an easy answer, but no, that's not the answer. I'm trying to think that it's maybe that if we do too much in one sport and he pushes his body too much and it breaks, you know, and we have to learn to stop him, you know, because he just got energy for days, you know, and he'll keep going. He doesn't know when to stop, you know. He won't stop unless you stop. So can you imagine that? So if I'm working with him and he seems to be always ready to go, so I'm pushing it further than I should, you know, and then next thing you know, boom, injury. Because why? Because stupid coach went out there and did more work with him than he probably should have, you know. And I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying that's the case with him.
Fair enough. I want to circle back to Cormier in just a second. Let me ask you something else I saw floating out there. It happened with something Luis Pena had said, Mr. Violent Bob Ross. And I'm going to ask, not tell, because I legitimately do not know what the answer is here. To be a high-level gym, you got to have a high-level coach. You are one. You got to have high-level fighters. You got them. On some level, though, it's like a Division I program. You got to recruit, too. What are the ethics in your mind of recruiting fighters from smaller gyms to come to bigger ones like yours? What are the rules in your mind about the right way and the wrong way to do that?
We generally don't do that. We don't want to do that. We don't need to do that. You know, they basically come to us. I don't really like taking somebody who's been training somewhere else, you know, and then say, come over here to us. It's not fair. Let those individuals that have been work with them, you know. And if that individual, that fighter wants to come train with us, to me, it's like I let him and let his corner come with him. Let him be the people that are with him. Man, they worked really hard to be with him from the beginning, you know. And my attitude is, you know, stay with him. Like Luis Pena, you know, when he's had his first fight with us, his original corner was with him. And by all means, that was the greatest thing for me. But then something happened between them, and now it didn't work out. But to me, it's always should be that way. I don't like it. That's why for me, I like working guys from scratch. That way they're with me, and that's it. I don't really like working guys that have been somewhere else, and you know, and then I'm implementing what I want to implement on them, and then you know, I'm taking away from somebody else. If the relationship with their other coaches is good, then it should stay there.
Is not even speaking about AKA, but just generally, when you look around the industry, is that kind of recruitment from higher level gyms, is that a problem, or do most higher level gyms have the same benefit you do, which is you guys are so visible, people just come to you?
I think we're just so visible, people just come. I don't think American Top Team, Greg Jackson's, and you know all the other top teams, they you know Duke Rufus, and you know I don't think they recruit. I think just people come to them. I don't really see it. We don't recruit. The only thing we do recruit is through Dwayne Zink and and Crazy Bob. You know, they're out there actively recruiting top wrestlers. So yes, but that's wrestlers that have no MMA experience. That's not wrestlers that you know already fighting. They don't recruit them. They recruit the wrestlers that from zero. That's why you notice a lot of the guys we have are from zero.
That's right. So you get them right out of college, or when they're done with the freestyle circuit or whatever it is, and then you build them from the ground up like that.
Yes, from the ground up. That's the way we like to do it.
Fair enough. Okay. I was just wondering because there were some people chatting about it, but I don't know how big of a deal that is or it's not. All right, so let's circle back to, if we can, Mr. Daniel Cormier, as you telling me, enjoying me his wonderful birthday. We saw him commentating at UFC Philadelphia. Per usual, he did a wonderful job. Last time he was on this show was not too long ago. He was still rehabbing, I think, that thumb, or there was another injury he was dealing with. Is he going to fight in 2019, do you think?
Oh, 100%. He's fighting. He's fighting. It better be Brock. It better be Brock. Dana keeps talking about it. We keep talking about it. Let's hope Brock talks about it. We want Brock.
Now let me push back on this. You know? Let me push. Yeah, I get it. Let me push back on this if I can a bit, Javier. Look, we both know what the deal is. He's going to get paid to fight Brock. It's not very competitive to me. I think that Daniel's going to go in there and wax him. Like, why should I be interested in that fight?
Well, I think the Brockamania fans are going to be interested in that fight. It's going to be a spectacle to see it, when he does it, how he does it. I'm thinking we're winning too. But you know what? I've also thought Cain Velasquez was going to win some fights too that he didn't win. So there you go. There's that monkey in the wrench, it just gets thrown at you, This sport's an unforgiving sport, and it's a 50-50 sometimes, You come in highly favored, Luke Rockhold, Michael Bisping, walk in the park. Well, Luke had an injury. Well, Luke pushed things. Well, guess what? Walk in the park became an upset in history. So everything that you think appears to be just like that sometimes does not end up being that way.
Are you glad he pushed back his retirement? Yeah, which he announced, by the way, on this show?
I want whatever Daniel wants, I'm okay with him retiring now. I love the guy, he's my team captain and he's my friend for life. So I don't really care if he fights ever again. But, if he's going to fight one more time, I want it to be Brock because the big payday. I mean, that's an obvious thing here. It's not anything other than that. It's a big payday. And then what is prize fighting? This is more of a prize fight than it is a sport. Anybody that thinks this is a sport, then man, we're all effed up here. People are fighting each other that shouldn't be fighting each other. A guy loses a title, he goes up and fights for another title, and then he goes down again, and he fights another high level fight instead of earning his way back up. It comes down to eyeballs to the screen, who's going to pay, and the people do what they do to make business work, and that's what happens. Look at Mighty Mouse. I mean, as great a fighter as he was, why did he get switched over? Look at his pay-per-view numbers. Look at his viewership. Very, very low. So what did they do? They have to do what's right for the business. So is this a true sport? No, it's prize fighting. And I'm never delusioned by that. So I understand how it goes.
And also, he's still very competitive. And one thing that kind of bothers me, Hav, I wonder what you have to say about this. You see a lot of guys get to the top of the game in boxing, and not even necessarily the best ones, not the Pacquiaos, not the Mayweathers, but like the Garcias, the Khans, right? When they start getting $1 million paydays, they stay in the sport and keep earning $1 million paydays. In MMA, you see guys make a few $1 million paydays, and then they're out. They don't stick around. Daniel's still competitive. He's at his peak earning potential. Why not?
Well, I mean, the thing is, if Daniel decides, hey, I want to continue to fight 3 more fights, and, Dana decides to throw more money at him and the money's too good to pass up, I'm sure Daniel's a competitor. He'll do it. But, let's face it, he's such an incredible announcer and incredible host. This guy can do anything, NFL, NBA, you name it. You put him behind a mic, man, he's magic. I'm sorry, that guy's magic. Anything you want to put him in, he can do, and he will do, and he'll do it to the best of his ability. And I don't think there's many people out there in the world of announcing and personalities that really have what that guy has.
Now, we just saw Justin Gaethje win over the weekend. I'm not sure if you had a chance to catch it, Hav, but I know you're familiar with Justin. He had said he wanted Khabib next. Now, Khabib's a tough fight, as you well know better than I do. He's a tough fight for anybody. But Justin Gaethje is interesting. The only 2 times he's been taken down in the UFC was when he was rocked by a huge punch. He got right back up from both, and he stopped every other single one. What kind of a threat do you think Justin Gaethje is for Khabib Nurmagomedov?
Not much.
Tell me why.
Not much. Because he ain't going to be able to stop the takedown. None of those guys can. He'll take them all down. And if they don't have much of a ground game, they're done. The only way it becomes interesting if Khabib decides to do things. Look back at all his fights. It's only when he decides to stand with people that it becomes a little bit trickier. I mean, he stood with Conor, so he gave Conor a chance. And I'm begging for him, go back to father's plan, go back to father's plan. He screws with me all the time. You know, he does the same thing with Michael Johnson. I'm telling him, what are you doing? Go back to father's plan, father's plan. That's what I call just wrestle the guys, take them down, wrestle with them. And he does that all the damn time. You know, he did that to Al Aquinta, same damn thing. I'm begging him. I told him, look, Al's going to bait you. He's going to allow you to hit him because he, you know, and you're going to be able to hit this guy. Don't get too comfortable hitting him because he's going to lure you in. All of a sudden, the guy hits really hard. I don't want you getting caught. Sure. Okay, coach. Okay. What does he do? Starts banging without. And then he's out pointing him. Just like I said, next thing you know, he's doing more. And then I'm just like telling him, can you please go back to father's plan? Nope. Then all of a sudden I said, okay, since you're not going to go to father's plan, why don't you do 50% what you want, 50% what we want? So he goes, okay, coach. Then he goes out and does that, you know, but it's only because of what he wants. If he wants to take somebody down, he'll take them down. I don't care who it is in his weight division. He'll take them all down. And guess what? If they get back up, he'll take them back down again. I've seen it too many times. You know, I've never seen anybody like him. And you know, we'll probably never see anybody like him again. You know, the guy can take a shot. He doesn't even get phased. I mean, look at Barboza kicks him in the head. It didn't even look like nothing. And then, you know, Michael Johnson taps him right in the head. And I'm like, dude, he hit you. He goes, no, he didn't. I go, yes, he did. He hit you with a decent shot. I mean, you didn't show it very much, but, you know, you can't get caught like that too much, you know. But it's up Khabib. Khabib is the reason why these fights are more stand-up than they need to be. My choice is always just take him and smash him. And he can do that to every one of these guys.
So let's assume that's true. Last question on this. Let's assume that's true. I won't challenge it. That he, at 155, nobody can stop it. So answer me this then. How big and how good do you need to be before guys can start stopping him in the training room? You got to be a middleweight? You got to be what? Tell me when that begins to wear off.
Well, I don't know because I never have let him spar middleweight. Won't do it. I won't let him do it. No, he'll want to. I won't let him. There's no way. He can do the wrestling, whatever, but in the MMA sparring, no. No, the most I will do is a welterweight. I've never done middleweights with him. I won't do that. It's just stupid. You know, it's a little too big, too much horsepower on both sides, and I don't want any injury unless it's a middleweight that he can play with. But if he can play with him, why even be there? He needs to have somebody that can challenge him. So I put it. Everybody Khabib always spars are right within his weight. You know, about the heaviest he'll go is his cousin. You know, Abukar. You know that's it. And they spar each other so much, so it's not that much of a weight difference. No, I won't let like Luke Rockhold and stuff. Be crazy.
Okay. All right, but then tell me what your hunch is. How big do you got to be to really give him some trouble?
Like weight wise?
Yeah, like I mean, if a 155er can't do it, what does your brain tell you about who could?
Someone like Luke Rockhold type weight. That those guys can do it.
Wow.
That ain't going to happen because I won't allow it.
Yeah, of course not. But that would be a sight to behold. Good Lord. All right. Well, you tell you what, Hav, I know you're there in Vegas. I don't want to keep you from those wonderful Vegas buffets or whatever it is you are doing there. Enjoy your time, and we look forward to seeing you back in someone's corner. And, of course, you're on the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks for having me.